What's new, crew? If you're new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassandra. Today we're heading out to the raised beds. We're gonna start filling them. I have my kind of stack of seeds here that we're gonna direct sowing. Just this morning while the kids were out riding their bikes, hanging out in the driveway, I went through all of my seeds and figured out what I wanted to direct sow, went through my old seeds from last year, things I want to use up, because that's the name of the game this season, is use up old seeds. So I have a ton of different carrots we're going to be planting, some rutabagas and some beans. I want to go out to the new raised beds and figure out how I want to plant them. A couple of weeks ago we went out and direct sowed 2 different varieties of snap peas from Johnny's Seeds. I didn't know if they were going to germinate. I was very apprehensive about it. I talked about that, but they actually germinated through those 2 really big snowstorms. They germinated and it's looking very promising. So I also have the Trilogy green beans from Johnny's Seeds. I want to go out and plant those today as well. So I think in total we have 6, maybe 7 different types of vegetables we're going to direct sow into the new raised beds. My plan is to leave one of the 2 raised beds completely empty, and I want to put potatoes in there. I'm going to go to my local feed mill. They are selling different variety of poundages of seed potatoes. And I'm thinking I want to do that because a big goal of mine this year is to grow potatoes and can a lot of potatoes. I have a sneaking suspicion they are going to become my absolute favorite convenience item on the shelf for using for mashed potatoes or breakfast burritos, anything. I can see myself using them a million different ways. It's one of the things I'm most excited to pressure can. So we're going to do those. So let's go fill this raised bed with lots of different things and see exactly how much space and how much we can get planted in there. We're going to be putting the trellising up here in the next week or so. My husband and a couple of his coworkers are over working on the tension fence, or the tension wire for the fencing on the orchard today. Baby's napping, my older kids are all outside running around, and while they're running around, I'm gonna get these seeds in the ground, and he's me working on the tension wire. Tomorrow, my husband and my brother-in-law are gonna be rolling out the wire for the actual fencing part of the fencing. These are 2 things. I've helped my husband with absolutely everything else for the fencing, drilling the holes, putting the poles in, cementing, making sure everything was level, getting the T-posts in. Me and him did all of that over the last couple of days, and these are the 2 things that he just needs more muscle than what I can provide. So he's got that these next 2 days. He's gonna be working on those things, and then of course I will show you guys the finished product of the fence, how we ended up doing everything, and then after that we only have a couple of weeks until plants arrive and we can start putting plants in. I suppose while we're talking about plants, my husband, while he was getting things for the tension wire, stopped at Fleet Farm by us, and typically we don't buy these from box stores because they're very expensive. These were $8 a piece, but he got 3 different varieties of grapes we're gonna be planting in the orchard. We did not order grapes in bulk from anywhere yet like we did the berries and things, because we wanted to see what does well here in the soil, what we like taste-wise. So we got 3 different varieties here. We're gonna plant these in the orchard. We're going to give it a year or so, try out these, just see how they grow, how they taste, what we like, and then we'll put in a bulk order and get some more. So that's that. We also, I don't think I've shown these yet on YouTube. I know I did on Instagram. My husband has also been doing a lot of research on pine berries. They're basically white strawberries. If you have an issue with bunnies or rabbits, well, bunnies and rabbits are the same thing, but like deer, anything like that, eating your berries, your birds, whatever, typically they will leave these pine berries alone. And for raspberries, it's like golden raspberries, anything that doesn't turn that bright color, that bright red color, they'll actually leave them alone even when they're ripe because they don't think that they're ripe. They're not gonna be sweet. The animals don't want them. So we're gonna get those a go. We got 2 of those pine berries. We're gonna get those planted out, as well as those grapes and things. That's not gonna be a today thing though. Those are gonna go out in the orchard, so I'm waiting for the fencing to go in. So probably in the next 3 or 4 days, if the weather holds out, we'll be planting those out in the orchard together, and I'll show you guys the orchard and all that. So that'll be another video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. But let's go direct sow some of these seeds that I really need to get in the ground while the baby naps. So let's go. I wanted to make sure I was using up as many of my older seeds as possible, just because the longer they sit, the less the germination rate is going to be, and you just want to use them up. You paid for them, you want to be able to use them and get a harvest off of them, or at least attempt to get a harvest off of them. So this is a packet of old carrots that I got last year from Baker's Creek, and I didn't harvest any of my carrots last year. We had a really bad deer problem in part of our garden, and they just obliterated everything. So that's what happened to most of my carrots. I've also never had a great carrot harvest here, so spoiler alert, this whole bed basically ends up being different variety of carrots, and we're going to try them in the raised bed this year, and hopefully we'll get a harvest off of them. I'm trying a lot of different variety of carrots. You'll see that today, and we're going to see which one does the best and hopefully learn a lot this summer and heading into fall, and we can get a much better harvest off of at least something. So that is kind of the game plan for this. I'm also going to end up putting some rutabagas in here and just trying to get the most use out of the garden beds as possible. I've never planted anything in raised beds before, so this is a completely new experience for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I watched a couple videos on how other people like to arrange their raised beds, how they like to plant them, just to get some ideas on what works for other people. These are some of our rutabagas here, and that was really helpful, but I'm still just gonna kind of wing it this year and just try to make this year a learning experience, and hopefully next year I can go into garden season being a lot more prepared and having a lot more of a game plan on how I actually want to plant these raised beds. So that's kind of what my plan is for this year, is just to learn as much as possible when it comes to these, and hopefully next year just come into garden season a lot more prepared. So these are little finger carrots here. These are also from Baker's Creek. We planted some of these last year. They're just really fun, little thin, kind of like munching carrots for the kids. I really hope that these do well. I think that the kids will love these, so I'm hoping that this year is the year of the carrot harvest for us. I would also really love to be able to get some carrots canned. One of our favorite side dishes is sauteed carrots with like butter and a little bit of honey. We call them candied carrots. You can also do brown sugar if that's more your speed, but they're absolutely delicious. We are split down the middle in this household. 3 of us absolutely love them. The 3 other people definitely don't care for them, but they are fantastic. If you can't tell what camp I fall in, I also made those carrots for Christmas dinner, and a lot of people went crazy for them. The kids really loved them. They're just a really sweet candied carrot. They're delicious. So I would love to be able to can those, because that would make making those candied carrots so quick and so easy. So that's really what I'm thinking for a lot of these, but we're just gonna go ahead and get this whole bed planted out. And I know originally we talked about making that second raised bed behind me just potatoes, but I ended up planting some spinach over there and our peas and some climbing flowers. So hopefully those will do well, and I'm going to hopefully maybe be putting my potatoes somewhere else, maybe in another raised bed, but we will see. These are both my like purple carrots, or my fun carrots. This is literally just a purple carrot from My Gardener, and then I have a glow stick moonrise mix. This is purple, yellow, white, and orange, so it's a really fun mix. I'm gonna roll these. I probably have enough where I can do 1 full row of each, if not 2 full rows of each. All the way on this far side of the bed here is where we planted our 2 varieties of snap peas, about half and half, so 50-50 on the very back side, and then the trellis is going to go in between these 2 beds, and the snap peas will grow up the trellis. I'm thinking that I'm also going to have to grow my pole bean. It's a bush bean, so it's not a bean that necessarily has to be trellised, but it could be. So it's not a pole bean. I'm debating if I want to grow those bush beans up the other half of that trellis in with the potatoes, or if I shouldn't do that. I think I'm going to look up if beans and potatoes grow well together and if they kind of do their thing together, or if I shouldn't, and I think that'll determine if I plant that there or not. But we're gonna get these 2 in the ground. And I have some pretty decent sized goals this year when it comes to the garden, just because we are expanding so much so quickly this year between the orchard and having all of that fenced, because now I have all the ultimate deer protection. So a lot of things are going to be going into the orchard, at least that's my assumption. I'm already thinking about what I can plant over there, what we can put over there. And we also expanded the garden this year, plus we put in these 2 raised beds, plus I'm hoping that we will end up getting more topsoil from another project that we have going on. It's just endless projects here, at least that's the current state of things. I will be getting more topsoil from that, where I could eventually put in another 2 raised beds. If in a perfect world, I would love to put in another 4.
but we will really see what happens. That's kind of what we're thinking. I'm hoping by the end of summer I could put in another 2 raised beds with that extra topsoil we're going to be getting. But I have a lot of goals this year just because my space has expanded so rapidly this year. Just between these 2 raised beds, you can see how much we're getting in. We already have like 4 or 5 different varieties of carrots. We've got rutabagas in here. We have 2 different varieties of snap peas. And in that other raised bed behind us there, we put in a trilogy bean and these sweet pea flowers that are going to be climbing up the trellis, which I think is going to be absolutely beautiful. And I also ended up putting 2 different varieties of spinach in that raised bed as well. So we're not going to end up putting potatoes over there. I'm just going to fill the raised bed with other things, and I will find somewhere else to put my potatoes. But because the square footage of food growing has expanded so quickly, I really want to see what we can get off of it. I know that nothing's going to be coming out of the orchard. If we're super lucky, we might be getting some berries at some point in the fall, but it really just depends. If not, we'll probably get some in the spring. So I'm excited about all the new things that are going to be coming, and because the planting space has increased, I want my yield to increase. I want my harvest to increase, and I'm really excited to be able to put some new things in the garden. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be doing a tour on all of the new updates coming up very soon, and I will catch you guys in another video.